guys, thank you for tuning in. It's Tamiiiaaaaaa and today we'll be making spaghetti. You'll be needing some minced garlic, you'll be needing some salt, you will also be needing some onion powder, some ground black pepper, you'll be needing some parsley, you'll need some Rotel or you can use fresh tomatoes, you'll be using some Ragu sauce, some garlic powder, you also will be using some chopped onions, mustard. Trust the process. Add your mammy, syrup, spaghetti noodles. I use thin spaghetti noodles. And you'll be using some Rogerwood. You can use any sausage that you prefer. Onions. Of course, you'll need the ketchup. And you also need a fresh tomato. So, I also use a little cilantro. Cilantro is optional though. You don't really have to use it if you don't want to. And I'll be using some nice sugar. You have to trust the process. So first thing we're going to do is chop up our vegetables. And I'm chopping up the onions, as you can see. You kind of just want to cut your onions in dice form. So yeah, you're going to do everything in dice. Now let's get to our tomatoes. You're going to do the same as for your tomatoes. I'm only going to cut them in dice. Now we'll be taking our sausages. You already want to prepare all of this before, so when you start cooking your meat, it can be ready. I like to cut my sausages right down the middle and then cut across. Who doesn't love them some nice sausages in their spaghetti? I feel like in my family, we love the sausages in our spaghetti. Like, Now let's get to the ground beef. I am seasoning with all the seasonings that I have showed you guys in the beginning. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna season your meat. And I'm talking about season because this is what matters when you making the spaghetti. You're going to take your onions. You're going to let them get a little brown before you even ground the meat. My stove is on a medium. Adding my ground beef. And I am adding it and adding it and adding it. For now that my onions got a little brown, be adding my ground beef right on top. Now that my ground beef is on top, you want to take with a nice spoon and poke through the ground beef, mashing it, and actually just making the ground beef into smaller pieces and not just those thick pieces in your ground beef. So now you see I'm just trying to just getting it to smaller pieces because in my spaghetti we don't want to be eating big pieces of meat. You can see that my ground beef has been grounding for a while. You see it's a little brown almost. And now look at that. The onions, I'm telling you, when you get your ground beef almost ready, and when cooking ground beef, you need to make sure it's no pink. It's still some pink, so it's not even done. But what I'm going to do is drain my grease. I'm going to drain the grease. You do not want that grease in your spaghetti. As you see, the meat is looking, I don't even see no more pink, so I'm going to be draining my grease. Now I'm going to be adding my sausages and some tomatoes got in there, but it's okay. It's all going in the same thing. on my noodles, and I like to add a pinch of salt and a little oil. And the thing I do is I break my spaghetti noodles up and I'll put them in my pot. So now that my sausages have been cooking for a while, I like to make sure they are a little brown, like black, not burnt, but just I want to make sure that they're nice and done and just that flavor. Now you see I am putting my sausages to the side because I'm going to add my ground beef that was drained back into, and I'm going to mix together. I like to cook. I'm the type of person who loves to cook my ground beef. Not burnt, but I like to make sure it's done because I know some people just cook the ground beef and know it's done. I just like to be cautious of how my meat is going to turn out. I do not want to give my family no pink meat. That would be so embarrassing, and I don't want to get nobody sick. So if you are following, you see that I'm just cooking this a little more before I add it all in my pot. My sausages are looking nice, and I add it all together. So now you want to take a pot, any pot that you have, and you want to add your meat inside of that pot. Now here's where it get. I was kind of struggling here, so I just had to keep doing the rest with a spoon. Spoon. So now I'm going to be taking my Ragu sauce, and with my Ragu sauce, I'm going to be adding it to the pot. I'll also be adding water in the Ragu sauce to make it a little smoother and try to stretch out my spaghetti sauce. I don't know if you guys like your spaghetti sauce, you know, saucy or like a lot of sauce. If you like it with a lot of sauce, you want to do it with water. If you really don't, you can just add the Ragu sauce to make it a little thick. So, look at that. It all come together. I'm telling you that this spaghetti really does slaps. I will not lie to you guys, like I always say, and I always say trust the process, but we ain't done yet. You want to add more seasonings. I told you guys in the beginning, you want to keep adding the seasonings. What are you doing? Add that salt, add that ground pepper, add any seasonings of your choice, and I'll be adding ketchup, and I'll be adding the mustard. Yes, mustard. Mustard just give it a little tang to it, and the syrup will give it a little sweet taste to it. If you don't like your spaghetti sweet, you do not have to do this, but trust, this recipe is very good. And I just added the sugar, and now you're gonna stir that all around. And after you stir it around, you want to make sure everything is all incorporated in there. I'm going to be adding the Rotel. I did not add the Rotel in the meat because I didn't want it to be too mushy. I wanted to be right in the sauce and stuff. Get it all in there. So you want to taste your sauce. If your sauce didn't taste the way you want to, then feel free to add some other stuff. And that's what I did. I added more seasoning, and I added more sugar, and I also added more ketchup. And mind you, in the video, guys, I did not show that my noodles were done. But if they're soft, then they're done. If they stick to the wall, then they're also done. Just test that out for you guys' noodles. Of the times and stuff, the heat and stuff. Now you will let your ground beef simmer. And like I said, guys, thank you for watching my video. All my times of how long I cook the meat, how long I let it simmer, will be in my description below. If you like videos like this, you guys add the parsley at the top, and I just made it with a side of garlic bread. If you like videos like this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share with a friend.